one go out there and stop a fully healthy 49ers defense. This was certainly the Ravens' toughest matchup to this date, and they passed the test with flying colors. So when you can shut down an offense that has Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, you're going to feel pretty good about yourself going to your next game, which is against the Dolphins offense, which is almost as high-powered. So I think the Ravens are going to have a lot of confidence going into next week, and knowing that if they win that game, they're going to clinch the #1 overall seed in the AFC. So this, to me, kind of puts the Ravens stamp themselves as the Super Bowl favorite with the win.
Yeah, when you think about how they went ahead and beat San Francisco, it's matching that physicality that Joe talked about earlier with this 49er team. And if you're Baltimore, I feel like all week in practice has to be focused on zone defense. How can we communicate better? Because they're going to see a lot of mid-level, high-level, low-level crossers coming from this Miami Dolphins offense. This is essentially the same offense you just played against in San Francisco that you'll play against in Mike McDaniel out there in Miami, or against Miami. So for me, Baltimore has to focus on how can we communicate better on defense and zone? How can we pass guys off? Can we make tackles in space? Because there's a lot of speedsters, more speed in Miami than is in San Francisco. You don't have to deal with a Christian McCaffrey, but you have to focus on the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua with his precise precision and accuracy and his anticipation getting the ball out quickly.
It's going to be that McDaniel-McDonald matchup that might decide the AFC. You just love the alliteration of it all. Going to be important to see what the health is, both of Kyle Hamilton in the back end for the Ravens and of the aforementioned Jalen Waddle inside that matchup there in the secondary. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs as well, who get tagged with an unexpected loss here against a team that they dominate historically in the Patrick Mahomes era. Not only that, it comes at home. Not only that, Taylor Swift in the building. Come on. We got to show out for T-Swift, right? Well, you might have to show up and show out away from home. If they can win that first game against whoever it may be, that is assuming that they can clinch the division here in the next 2 weeks, we're going to see Patrick Mahomes play playoff football on the road if they can get past that first round, Emery. How does this one affect the way you're looking at KC? A lot of the same questions we've been asking all season, but no answers here on Monday.
Yeah, I feel like every time we talk about Kansas City, I say the same thing. No one fears the Chiefs this year. No one fears them coming into their home or going into Arrowhead. People just look at Kansas City and say, hey, if we just take care of our business and make the plays that are there to be made, we could beat the Chiefs. And we saw the Raiders lose contain on every drop back and still found a way to collapse on the back end and close on these wide receivers and force some turnovers. So if you have the ability to play with discipline up front, rush the passer, and also cover on the back end, you have a great chance of beating Kansas City, not just winning the game, but actually dominating like the Raiders did today.
Yeah, and it seems like with the Chiefs over the past 5 years, there's been this aura of invincibility that is absolutely not there. You know, if the Chiefs were trailing, Patrick Mahomes would bring them back, but he doesn't have the weapons. His guys aren't getting open. His offensive line isn't protecting them as well as they should. Usually this is a team that gets hot at the end of the year. They're 1-3 in the month of December. They haven't had a losing December since 2013. So we're talking something, this hasn't happened in 10 years. So this team is not intimidating. And to get to that road playoff game in the divisional round, they'd have to get out of the wild card round. And right now, there's no guarantee that would happen. Joe, you mentioned that right now it would set up as a rematch with the Buffalo Bills in the first round. I don't think Kansas City would love that. I think the Bills would love it. So the Chiefs have a lot of question marks, and they haven't even clinched the division yet. They still have to win one of their final 2 games, which isn't even a guarantee based on how they're playing right now.
Losing out by the Chiefs and winning out by the Raiders would be a Raiders divisional title. Still football to be played. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture now. As the 49ers, despite the loss, I mean, hats and T-shirts already taken care of, 11-4, but still fighting for that top overall seed and the bye. So our 1 and 2 seed, both 3-game losing streaks at some point in the season. But the tiebreaker does belong to the 49ers by way of that drubbing of the Eagles. Lions are set in place too. Buccaneers playing really good football. But again, let's start this conversation at the top and with the 49ers, Breach. The 60 minutes of football that we just watched with the Baltimore Ravens was about as physical of football as you're going to see on any level. They stood up to the task. They did answer late in game. But a lot of questions can be rolled out in front of the 49ers right now. As you assess them coming off of this loss, any worry that this loss might linger, or is this the proverbial smelling salt that gets them back to who they're supposed to be prior to playoffs?
I think I'm a little worried that it might linger. Again, like the Chiefs, you want to be hot at this time of year. You don't want to get beat down and lose games by 2 touchdowns in December. And this kind of throws a wrench into the race for the #1 seed. If the 49ers get the